if you have a big bunch of assembly language and you want somebody to help you move it onto a platform that's, say, on the web, then we're the kind of company that knows how to do that. We have programmers who actually wrote assembly language in the days when that's how you wrote computer games.
Hey guys, and welcome to the Grow IT podcast. One of your hosts here, Trey King. And today we are excited to have our guest, Mr. Philip Todd from Saltire Software. And we'll be diving into his story a little bit today, as well as what his company does, and then some engaging insights into the technology. So make sure to stick around. But without further ado, Philip, welcome to the Grow IT podcast.
Oh, thank you.
Philip, if you don't mind, if you can maybe kick off things, if you could kindly introduce yourself and just tell a quick snippet of your story.
My voice comes from Scotland, and so do I. I emigrated to the United States in 1984. So I haven't been able to entirely shake the accent. Some people, I think, are good at doing that, but other people, such as myself, end up with most of their original accent. But I came over here. Initially worked for the computer research lab at Tektronix in Beaverton, Oregon, and I left in 1989 because the project I was working on, they didn't want to pursue it. I was working on innovative user interface for solids modeling software, and I thought it had. I didn't feel good about leaving it not as a product, so I was able to negotiate a license to commercialize this technology myself, and so I formed a company, initially just me, to take the technology to market, and I've been doing that for 35 years. This was in 1989. So my story then becomes the company story. The company is called Saltire Software. Now the name Saltire is the name of the Scottish flag. So it's
that's interesting.
Scottish equivalent, but the Scottish equivalent of calling your software company Stars and Stripes Software or Old Glory Software. In actual fact, one of the things that perhaps is valuable in the company is we have the website saltire.com, and just because we were a very early member of the web, you could at that time get virtually any name you wanted, and but that's actually a fairly valuable commodity in Scotland, I guess, because there's a number of companies and organizations called Saltire. So about every month I get somebody asking if it's for sale. I've now started asking them, well, what would you offer? And that tends to stop the conversation right there.
Yes, I would think so. I would think so. Tell me, Philip, based on your expertise, what would you say are like the current market trends, in your industry that you are aware of? What ways are the winds blowing these days?
That's where I'm perhaps not a good person to talk to. I think more in terms of technological winds blowing as opposed to market winds. Now, the technology we work in, the area we work in, is in software development, and we have tended to find ourselves doing a fair amount of work with legacy software that is large code bases of somewhat old-fashioned software. So if you imagine a recent, by recent I mean maybe in the last 10 years, trend has been from software to migrate from being specific to an operating system such as the Mac or the Windows and move
Yeah.
on to being browser based. And so that is a technological trend that we've certainly been part of. But from the software development trend, is sort of interesting to me. We the way people develop software now versus 30 years ago now. So I'm talking about long-term trend, not several months, but several decades. It used to be that one sat there with you knew exactly the environment you were going to be working in. I'm going to be developing in Microsoft Windows. And the environment wasn't going to change underneath you. You knew that if you wrote something for Windows, it would work next year and the year after and the year after that. In fact, we know that we've got Windows software we wrote back in the 1990s that you put it on Windows and it still works. So you don't need to be continually updating it. Nowadays, in the sort of browser world, if you have a piece of software, you can't just, it's not just I wrote it and I'll leave it and people can buy it. You have to be actively maintaining that stuff because your platform just changes all the time. So it can work. It can work at 1 month, a couple of months later, something's changed on a particular browser, and it no longer works. So you have to be actively engaged in development rather than I'll develop it and throw it over the wall and that's it done. So that's definitely a long-term sort of movement because we've been a company that's always had old software that we sell. So we somehow develop software that people are still interested in 10 years after we've done it. It just is not somehow, it's just because it's sort of niche type stuff that is interesting to certain people, but not to the whole world. And so from my perspective, it's nice to be able to just have it still work and people still buy it. But that's increasingly not a sensible way of doing things because you just have to have active developers upgrading all the time. So it's that I feel like is a trend. Another trend I find more of a software development trend. It's interesting. A while ago, there was a big trend towards international development, where you'd offshore things, and we've never done that. We've always believed we wanted all our software developers to be nominally in one building, to be in one place. They're always, all our software developers are in Portland, Oregon. We've never had until COVID, when we all went to our homes. But we're back in the office now for 2 days a week out of 5. But we've never done the offshoring thing, and that's meant that we're more expensive for people to work with than other organizations. But we just it's a model whereby we're, I guess, giving high quality development, high quality design, so that it's easy to communicate with us. If you're if you're onshore, we're onshore, and we work on your time zone and so forth. So however, we don't. It's hard for us to compete on price with offshore development. But the thing that's been changing, of course, is that the offshore development has got more expensive as
good point you're making.
As their employees are demanding more money.
Yes. Tell me, Philip, if you don't mind, just to explain to our listeners, what is it, exactly what your company does?
Yeah, well, that's a long story actually too, because we've had a couple of different what we called, well, what's now called pivots. We've pivoted a couple of times. So we do several different things because, in essence, the same urge that I had not to let the software die on the vine at Tektronix has made us kind of stick with the various different projects we've done over a long period of time. And so we've now got quite a number of different things that we do. But analytics was a piece of software for mechanical engineers to design mechanisms. So, for example, people that would design a backhoe would use our software to both to design the geometry of the backhoe and to analyze the forces that would be there in that backhoe or a lift or something like that. It's got mechanical mechanisms involved in it. We pivoted away from that after about 6 years because the money that was going into marketing was kind of cycling. We were able to pay for the marketing, but we're just going around in a circle. We weren't making enough money to do further development, if you like. So it wasn't progressing, and we pivoted away to in two directions. And one direction was a piece of software for working out how much carpet you need in a particular floor plan.
Yes.
Now, this may sound totally unrelated, but it's actually a fairly sophisticated mathematical question for some specific reasons. Carpet comes in 12-foot wide rolls.
Yeah.
So you have to cut it if your room is bigger than 12 feet. You can also not lay it in different directions. It has to all go in the same direction in a particular floor plan. And it's also expensive. So it doesn't make sense to throw away vast amounts. So if you have a 13-foot wide room, it makes sense of using up that. You're going to have a 1-foot strip down the side. It makes sense of using up that other 11 feet in some other way in part of your floor plan. So it turns out it's a kind of a retail optimization problem. Those kind of problems are solved if you're working out how to put the pattern for a pair of jeans, for example, on a roll of denim. Well, you're going to make thousands of those jeans. So you can employ full-scale industrial optimization software, if you like, because you're going to do it once and then you're going to use it on a large number of jeans that you're creating. Floor plans are more of a retail thing. They differ. You're not going to get one size fits all for floor plans. So it was actually a relatively sophisticated application, and that's more or less thematic to what we do. Is that we tend to have a sophisticated mathematical element in whatever bit of our software, and so that then became the number one product in that niche, and has then became the number two product in the niche. But it was one of the two major products in that particular niche up until about a year ago, when the whole niche got consolidated and we ended up selling out that piece of software into a much larger company called Syncly that is kind of basically consolidating a lot of different products in that kind of space. So that was one of our pivots. The other pivot was into doing mathematical software for calculators. So pocket calculators made by people like Texas Instruments and Casio, and HP, and various other people that make those things. So we ended up working in essence as a consultant, software development company, or those kind of
Company.
projects. It's kind of different, but
Yes.
that is very much a legacy. So legacy code development project. Those projects tended to be working with legacy code,
Yeah.
and that has become, if you want to pull something together that is what our company does, is we help keep legacy code working in more modern environments.
Okay. Tell me you've actually mentioned now a great deal of value points, that your company obviously brings to the table, right? What would you, if you have to summarize it, and in one or two different value points, what would you say would be like the most significant value that your business brings to other businesses? Obviously, I'm keeping in mind now that the verticals have changed quite a bit. But what would you say would that significant value be of your business?
Yeah, our experience and skill at dealing with legacy code, we have um, quite a strong institutional knowledge in the company of code bases dating all the way back to doing assembly language. Now, people still have assembly language, typically in embedded applications where but if you have a big bunch of assembly language and you want somebody to help you move it onto a platform that's, say, on the web, then we're the kind of company that knows how to do that. We have programmers who actually wrote assembly language in the days when that's how you wrote computer games. And we also have people who are knowledgeable in the modern browser-based software development, TypeScript, and so forth. And sometimes they're the same people. So we span all the way from assembly language C, C++, up to modern web-based technologies of various descriptions. So if you have some old code and you want to get it on the web, we're good people to talk to.
Excellent. If you don't mind, you've got such a wealth of experience. I need to ask you, in your opinion, right? What type of mindset would you say is needed to be successful, as a founder of a company to make it, right? What would you say would that mindset look like?
To me, compartmentalization, the ability to separate the stresses that come at you from the business from all the rest of your life and compartmentalize it away so that it doesn't worry you. It's I used to say to people that
Well said.
I used to say to people that starting a business was like taking a satchel and filling it full of money, going up to the top floor of the building and throwing it down the stairwell, and then run after it down the stairs to try and catch it at the bottom. So it's the ability to compartmentalize that sort of
That's
activity from
that's
your
such a
everyday.
good that's such a good analogy.
Yeah, it was. I mean, maybe hoping it's acquired some more money as it goes down, but
Yeah,
not entirely sure why. No, it's I definitely feel that's a useful thing. I know I definitely know people that are just not cut out for it because they're not able to do that compartmentalization. They worry too
yeah.
much. Is what I would say.
That's such a good point. Is there maybe that maybe one or two points that you can latch onto that of like I'm thinking now about the up and coming entrepreneurs, leaders in companies that is, wanting to get in this direction, in this line of work, are there maybe, out of your experience, one or two things that you can say, this is, what I've learned in my career that, that you may be willing to share?
Yeah. One, it's all for me, of course, it's about longevity, and some of it. The What I found has been really useful is employing people not for the task to hand, but for their general for their fit with the company as a whole, and employing them for the long term. So we have part of our attraction is doing this legacy code, is that we have people that have worked for me for decades, and well, part of that is obviously your workplace has to be somewhere where people want to work. So you have to do what is required to make it a pleasant place to work. But also you have, if you're thinking in terms of doing this for a while, every project can't be an emergency. So I take it as a given that if it's an emergency that happens in a software project, it's a management failure. Now,
Yeah.
we all fail, so there are management failures and there are emergencies, but one should do what's required not to make that a standard thing,
Yeah.
so that people can come and work for you and feel, this is not going to be a fire drill every week. I also feel that it's my responsibility, and this is kind of is that part and parcel of this entrepreneurial compartmentalization, so that I'm not worried about what's going to happen next year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that I take all that worry off of the people that work for me, so I'm not, if there are times when I'm concerned about making payroll, I don't want to communicate that to everybody else. The Not that that happens very much, but
Yeah.
I feel like any worries ought to be taken by me. But the over the years, it's turned out that working for Saltire Software has tended to be a better long-term job than working for folk like Tektronix or even nowadays Intel. So
Yeah.
it's interesting. The small company, even though I can't year to year or month to month give much in the way of job security, I can't say you're definitely going to be working here in 3 months' time or 6 months' time,
Yes.
because I don't know what's going to happen in that time frame.
In that frame. Yeah.
Over the years, it has happened that we have managed to provide more stable employment than some of these big companies.
Tell me, Philip, where can the listeners, where can people get hold of you guys?
Oh, yeah, we're on. You can saltire.com is our website, and you can email info@saltire.com.
Excellent. Well, I need to thank you, Philip, for first off, coming on the show today, and except for that, as well as you provided us with really valuable insights. Obviously, not just about what you guys do, specifically in the business, but I think from a leadership point of view as well. So, thank you so much for coming on. I truly appreciated this one, and I had some fun. I enjoyed this.
Yeah, I did. Just a question. This is not essential, but would I be able to have a look at the final thing before you publish it, or is that not something you do?
Yeah. Just a quick one. So what we need to do now is just quickly finish. Just what we're going to do now is I'm just going to do the ending as well. We're still busy recording. So what I'm going to do is just we're going to do the ending quickly again, right? And then I'm going to stop, but we're still going to be on the call.
Sorry.
Okay. No
I'd
problem.
gone into the meta level, right?
Okay, yeah, sure. No problem whatsoever. All right. So Philip, need to thank you for coming on today. We truly appreciate it, and all the best to you and your business going forward. And I hope you guys grow as strong as what you did in the past. Good luck to you guys that side.
Okay, thank you very much.
Take care.